My brother is moving into our apartment permanently. My girlfriend smirked, crossing her arms. And since you make more money, you're going to pay for all of his food and bills. If you don't like it, you can pack your bags and move out. She stared at me, fully expecting me to cave and apologize. I didn't blink. I just looked at her and said one single word, understood. She laughed, thinking she had won the argument. She had absolutely no idea that 48 hours later, she would be standing in an empty apartment with a mountain of rent she couldn't afford, begging me to come back. Before we break down exactly how this toxic girlfriend lost absolutely everything, do me a massive favor. Hit that subscribe button and welcome to Peegyn. Drop a comment right now telling me what city or country you are watching from. We upload the most insane, satisfying Reddit stories every single day. Now let's get into the drama. My name is Julian. I am 32 years old, and I work as a lead cybersecurity architect for a massive financial firm in downtown Chicago. I live a highly structured life. I write code, I go to the gym, and I prefer quiet, predictable routines over chaotic drama. I am not an impulsive person. I do not thrive on uncertainty, and I absolutely do not tolerate manipulation. My girlfriend was Chloe. She was 29. We had been dating for a little over 2.5 years, and we had been living together for the last 14 months in a gorgeous, expensive 2-bedroom high-rise apartment right in the heart of the city. The lease was legally in both of our names, but I paid 80% of the rent and covered all of the utility bills because my salary was nearly triple hers. That financial arrangement had been mutually agreed upon when we moved in. I didn't mind paying more as long as my home remained a sanctuary. Chloe had a younger brother named Travis. Travis was 25 years old, chronically unemployed, permanently between big plans, and always exactly one minor inconvenience away from needing a massive financial bailout. He had stayed on our couch temporarily a few times before. But in Travis's world, temporary usually meant I'm going to sleep here until someone actively forces me to leave. About 3 weeks ago, Chloe came home from work looking unusually upbeat. Honestly, she was way too upbeat. She casually dropped her designer purse on the kitchen island, kicked off her heels, and cheerfully announced that she had some exciting family news. That specific phrasing alone made my stomach instantly tighten. Travis is moving in with us. Chloe smiled, opening the fridge. For how long? I asked carefully. Permanently, she said, popping open sparkling water. He needs to get back on his feet. Oh, and since you already cover most of the household bills, it just makes total sense for you to handle his extra costs, too. You know, groceries, increased electricity, internet upgrades for his gaming setup. His family is Julian. You should be happy to help support him. She delivered this insane mandate as casually as if she were telling me we had run out of paper towels. I set down my laptop. When exactly was this massive financial decision discussed with me? I asked. It doesn't need to be discussed. Chloe waved her hand dismissively. It's already decided. I'm absolutely not comfortable with this arrangement, Chloe, I said, keeping my voice perfectly level. We need to sit down and talk about strict boundaries, a hard move-out timeline, and exactly who is financing his life, because it isn't going to be me. That was the exact moment her tone violently shifted. The bubbly, cheerful girlfriend vanished, and a completely arrogant, entitled stranger took her place. This is my apartment too, Julian, Chloe snapped, glaring at me. Travis is moving into the guest room. If you do not like my rules, you can pack your stuff and move out. There was zero hesitation, zero room for negotiation. It was just a raw, aggressive challenge. I sat there in silence for 10 long seconds. I looked deep in her eyes, and I realized a horrifying truth. She was absolutely not bluffing. She had engineered this entire confrontation. She genuinely expected me to panic, back down, and completely submit to her authority. She thought my money and my home were leverage she could use to control me. I stood up from the bar stool. I looked her dead in the face. Understood, I said coldly. Chloe actually laughed out loud. She smirked, took a sip of her water, and walked into the living room like she had just won the Super Bowl. She had no idea that she had just triggered her own execution. If you would have instantly packed your bags the second she threatened your housing. Smash the like button right now to show Julian some respect. I did not argue with her. I didn't raise my voice. I didn't list out 30 logical reasons why her plan was ridiculous. When a toxic person gives you a clean, aggressive ultimatum, the only honest, powerful response is to accept it at absolute face value. I walked into the master bedroom and closed the door. I didn't slam it. I just shut it quietly. I sat on the edge of the mattress, and I completely stripped all human emotion out of my brain. I defaulted to the exact same logic I use when I'm building cybersecurity protocols. Once you remove feelings from the equation, decisions become terrifyingly simple. The biggest vulnerability in Chloe's master plan was a legal loophole she had completely forgotten about. When we first moved into the luxury high-rise 14 months ago, we had signed a 1-year lease. When that year expired, the lease automatically transitioned to a month-to-month agreement. We had chosen that specific option because Chloe claimed she liked the flexibility and hated feeling trapped. I pulled out my phone and opened the digital lease portal to confirm the exact legal terminology. Notice to vacate, 30 days. I opened my laptop and instantly started building a tactical checklist. Cancel the high-speed internet. Transfer my name off the electric and water bills. Reroute my corporate direct deposits. Find a luxury short-term corporate apartment rental downtown. I was operating with a cold, mechanical calmness that probably would have deeply terrified Chloe if she had bothered to walk into the room and look at my face. An hour later, Chloe swung the bedroom door open without knocking. "Are you done sulking in here?" she sighed, rolling her eyes. "Travis is bringing his stuff over in 2 weeks. You really need to adjust your attitude, Julian. Oh, and you need to clear all your computer monitors out of the guest room by Friday. That's his bedroom now." I slowly closed my laptop. "I've already given official notice," I said calmly. Chloe blinked rapidly. "Notice for what?" "The apartment," I replied. "I am legally terminating my portion of the lease. I will be completely moved out before your brother even arrives. You can absolutely keep this apartment if you want it, but my name will no longer be on the legal paperwork, and I will not be paying a single penny toward the rent or utilities ever again." That was the very first time I saw her arrogant confidence physically crack. You can't just do that," Chloe stammered, her voice rising in pitch. "We live together. Couples work things out. You are being insanely dramatic over me, just helping my family. You looked me in the eye and told me to move out if I didn't like your mandate." I reminded her, my voice deadpan. "I took you completely seriously. I am honoring your request." "That is not what I meant, and you know it," she yelled. But her backtracking came way too late. The absolute second she made my housing and my financial stability conditional on my blind obedience, the entire architecture of our relationship permanently collapsed. And she was just barely starting to realize the horror of what she had done. The next 4 days were surreal in the most psychopathic way imaginable. Chloe decided to employ a deeply delusional strategy. She pretended that our argument had never happened. She acted like everything was perfectly normal. She walked around the apartment talking about what color paint Travis might like for his new bedroom. She loudly complained about how cramped the apartment would feel with 3 adults living in it, but quickly followed it up by saying that sacrifices are just a part of adulthood. She even had the absolute audacity to ask me if I could help carry some of Travis's heavy gaming monitors up the stairs later that week. I did not engage. I gave her 0 emotional reactions. Behind the scenes, the termination was already legally finalized. I had scheduled the exact walkthrough date with the property manager. I had paid the security deposit for a gorgeous new penthouse apartment closer to my office. I had officially severed my name from the electrical grid. No screaming drama. No final warning shots. Just ruthless, silent procedure. When the final lease cancellation confirmation email hit my inbox, I forwarded it to a secure server and archived it. Chloe didn't actually realize the severity of the situation until she noticed the cardboard boxes. I started packing methodically while she was watching Netflix in the living room. I packed my expensive suits first, then my multi-monitor coding setup, then the high-end espresso machine and kitchen knives that I had personally purchased, I did not touch a single shared item unless I had the digital receipt to prove I bought it. She stood in the bedroom doorway, watching me tape a box shut, and nervously laughed. "What are you actually doing, Julian?" Chloe asked, trying to sound amused. "I am preparing to move out," I replied, labeling the box with a black marker. "You are being so incredibly petty," she scoffed, crossing her arms. "You're just doing this to scare me. You always need a few days to cool off. You'll change your mind. Travis has literally nowhere else to go. It would be completely heartless for you to abandon us over money." Notice this psychological framing. She was intentionally trying to make me the villain. "This has absolutely nothing to do with money, Chloe," I said, standing up and looking down at her. "This is about you dictating how my home will function and how my income will be spent without my consent. I do not live in environments where my presence is treated like a conditional hostage situation." She rolled her eyes so hard I thought they might get stuck. "You are overthinking everything like a robot," she groaned. "Just accept the new living situation like a supportive partner is supposed to do." That exact night, I overheard her calling Travis. She told him to start moving his junk into the apartment early. She genuinely, truly believed that I was running a massive bluff. She thought I was just throwing a tantrum and would eventually surrender. So, I pulled out my credit card, booked a professional moving company, and stopped communicating with her entirely. The true panic didn't arrive all at once. It leaked into the apartment through tiny, terrifying cracks. The day the first official utility transfer email hit Chloe's inbox, warning her that the electricity was being swapped solely into her name, the reality finally started to set in. "Julian," Chloe asked, staring at her phone with wide eyes. Are you really serious about taking your name off the lease?" "Yes." "Have you talked to the landlord yet?" "It was finalized 3 days ago." "When exactly are you leaving?" she asked. Her voice was trembling now. She was desperately looking for a window where she could still manipulate me into staying. "Tuesday morning," I said flatly. Her tone instantly sharpened into pure, defensive venom. "You are completely blindsiding me," Chloe shrieked. "I thought you were just blowing off steam. Real couples do not make massive life decisions without talking them through properly." "I tried to talk it through," I reminded her calmly. "And you looked me in the eye and told me to pack my bags and move out if I didn't like your dictatorship." "I didn't mean that literally," she screamed. "Everyone says stupid things in the heat of the moment." What fascinated me from a psychological standpoint was that she never actually apologized for saying it. She was only furious that I had the spine to hold her accountable for it. Travis started moving his garbage the next day, exactly like she told him to. Smelling cardboard boxes filled the living room. A stained mattress was aggressively leaned against my expensive leather couch. Travis barely said 2 words to me. He just gave me a lazy nod and started acting like he owned the place. I completely stopped using the common areas. I stayed in a master bedroom with the door locked. The night Travis officially slept over for the first time, Chloe tried a brand new manipulation tactic. She came into the bedroom and tried to play the victim. "Julian," she said softly, sitting on the edge of the bed. "Rent is going to be incredibly tight for me without your monthly contribution. Travis is supposedly looking for a job, but it might take him months to find something in this economy. Maybe we could sit down and revisit how the finances are split." That was the very first time she asked instead of demanded. "My finances are no longer part of your equation," I replied, not looking away from my laptop. She stared at me like I was a literal alien. "Are you actually planning to just leave me here to deal with this massive rent payment completely alone?" she asked, her voice cracking. "You made the plan without me, Chloe," I said. "So yes, you were alone." That was the very first night she cried. But she wasn't crying because she missed me. She was crying because her calculator was finally working and the financial math was starting to look absolutely terrifying. The professional movers arrived at exactly 8 a.m. on a Tuesday. Up until the very second those 2 massive guys walked through the front door carrying moving dollies, Chloe still believed I was bluffing. The moment the first heavy box was physically loaded onto the cart, her entire reality collapsed. "Julian, wait," Chloe begged, grabbing my arm. "Can we please talk privately?" I stepped into the bedroom with her. She immediately softened her voice, tears streaming down her face. "This is all getting way out of hand," she sobbed. "I never actually expected you to leave. I thought you loved me enough to just adjust to Travis being here." "Love does not mean surrendering my financial agency, Chloe," I said coldly. "I do not stay in environments where my stability is treated like leverage." "You are making a massive mistake," she pleaded. "Relationships require sacrifice. I would never, ever have done this to you." That was a blatant lie, and we both knew it. And then she desperately pivoted. "Okay, look," she bargained. "Travis can move out. I'll tell him he has to go stay with a friend. We could just pause all of this and hit reset." Why did those options only become available the exact second my furniture started walking out the door? I asked. She couldn't answer me. She just stood there, drowning in her own consequences. When I walked back out into the living room, Travis was slouched on the couch, aggressively scrolling through TikTok on his phone while the movers struggled to carry a heavy television around him. He didn't acknowledge me. He didn't offer to help. He didn't even move his legs out of the way. That single visual image proved to me, without a shadow of a doubt, exactly how miserable my life would have been if I had stayed. As I carried my final duffel bag out the front door, Chloe followed me into the hallway. "Are you seriously ending a 3-year relationship over this?" she cried, wrapping her arms around herself. "I cannot believe you are just walking away from me." "I'm not walking away, Chloe," I said, hitting the elevator button. "I'm leaving exactly when you ordered me to." The elevator doors slid shut. By the time I drove my car out of the parking garage, the true panic had fully set in. The first night in my new penthouse, my phone did not stop vibrating. At first, the text messages were pure, unadulterated rage. Long, manic paragraphs accusing me of ultimate betrayal. She accused me of aggressively embarrassing her in front of Travis. She said that real men do not abandon their partners when things get slightly difficult. She told me I had ruined her grand plan and made her look irresponsible. And then, at around 2 a.m., the tone violently shifted. The rage completely evaporated, replaced by raw, suffocating financial terror. She started rapid-firing practical questions she should have asked 3 weeks ago. "Julian, please, when is the exact rent deadline? Did you actually take your name off the electric bill? The lights are in my name now. Is the lease cancellation legally reversible? Please tell me you can reverse it. Julian, can you please just cover your 80% share for 1 more month until Travis figures something out? I don't have enough in my checking account." That was the panic talking. I replied exactly once. That specific word was incredibly ironic. This was the exact same flexible apartment she claimed to love when she thought I would be the one absorbing all the financial consequences. Now, the walls were rapidly closing in on her. The final collapse happened incredibly quietly, which somehow made it infinitely worse. About a month later, I got a random phone call from an unknown number. It was the property manager from the old building. "Hi, Julian," the manager sighed over the phone. "I'm just calling because Chloe has officially fallen severely behind on rent. She's currently asking the leasing office if your name can be temporarily added back onto the financial ledger to stabilize the account. She claims you agreed to this." I actually laughed out loud. "Absolutely not," I said clearly. "My lease termination is a finalized legal document. I will not be reattached to that property under any circumstances." "Thank you, Julian," the manager replied dryly. "I fully expected that answer. We will be initiating the formal eviction process tomorrow." I am sharing this story on Reddit because mutual friends keep asking me if I feel any guilt for letting her life blow up in her face. Here is the absolute, unfiltered truth. Chloe did not lose me on the day the movers arrived. She lost me the exact millisecond she decided that my home, my hard-earned money, and my mental stability were just tools she could exploit to force my compliance. The moment she arrogantly sneered, "If you don't like it, move out," she genuinely believed she was holding all the power. She thought I would grovel, argue, bargain, and ultimately surrender. Instead, I listened. I did exactly what she ordered me to do. And that is what permanently shattered her illusion of control. Travis moving in was never the actual issue. The real issue was that my consent was treated as a disposable option. When I left, the entire fantasy collapsed. The luxury bills became a reality. The responsibility landed exactly where it belonged. Travis did not magically transform into a responsible adult, and Chloe was forced to face the exact nightmare she engineered, completely without a buffer. I did not feel an ounce of guilt. I didn't abandon her. I successfully exited a trap designed to bleed me dry. I did not escalate the situation. I simply disengaged. If anyone reading this takes anything away from my story, let it be this. When a toxic person casually throws around ultimatums, take them literally. When someone treats your financial stability like leverage, permanently remove it from their reach. And when someone arrogantly tells you to leave, do not argue your way into staying. I said I understood. And for the first time in my entire life, I have never slept better. If you think Julian handled this toxic ultimatum perfectly, hit that subscribe button and drop a comment letting me know what you would have done if your partner tried to move a leech into your house. Make sure your notifications are turned on so you never miss another story. Thanks for watching, Peegyn, and I will see you guys in the next video.